when it comes to visual elements, like how do I know that my brand's visual identity is, well articulated enough that I can actually go on to start designing a thing? Or like, what am I looking for as a sign that I probably need to do more work on my brand's visual ID?
Hmm. Hmm. That's a good question. I personally think that, and I've worked with a lot of different organizations of different sizes. Some have a much more robust brand identity. Others might have just, a one-page style guide, which includes a mission statement, perhaps their logo, their branding, in a very, very light capacity. I think that the more an organization works on that, the easier it will be for them to be able to create material, work on different types of publications and things like that. Um, but the ease of how that comes to be, I think, can sort of tell how far along you are in the process. Um, if your brand is robust and you have sort of different examples and ideas as to how that brand can carry through different types of projects, whether they're landing pages for websites or publications or even marketing material, advertising, things like that, a really well developed brand will sort of be able to help guide that and make it very easy to produce that type of material. Again, I've worked with organizations, that have very robust, brand guidelines, and sort of tells you sort of what you can and can't do as a designer to make sure that the brand is consistent and you're outputting material that works, well on its own, but also can fit inside of a larger, space of material. So the ease of that, if you find yourself struggling with, how you're going to make something, look on every project, then maybe it's time to sort of take a step back and think about the brand a little bit more, and that
Mhm.
includes photography, it includes messaging, it includes design elements, everything like that.
Got it. So it sounds like you can tell your brand is well articulated enough if there are a lot of things that are consistently reflective of one visual identity, right? Like that consistency and volume are the two watchwords, right?
Absolutely, because not as just it's not just for designers to be able to take that material and create other projects from that, but it's also staff members and people who work in your organization to be able to understand what the messaging needs to be, how they, what their different language uses are, and how they represent themselves, in a way that's consistent. So, absolutely, that's correct.
Great. Great. And the other thing I'm getting from the way you talk about it is that if your brand identity is well articulated, it should be easy to tell if a design is consistent with the brand or not. And if you're struggling, it may be an indication that you haven't done enough work on your brand. Is that right?
I would say so. And of course, as designers, it's our job to sort of solve those challenges, or at least be able to identify them and help our clients solve them. But that's correct.